Love is everywhere. Good afternoon, good evening, or good morning, wherever you're at. This is Lizette Presley, your host, and I want to welcome you all to my show, to our show, because you are included in this one. We are all in this together. Love is everywhere. What is this about? Love is everywhere. And I would like to spread the love to everyone out there, everybody. What did the Bible say about love? Can I just say this? Love is patient, love is kind, and love doesn't judge. And who wants to be judged? We all want to be loved. So, thus, love is everywhere. Wherever you go, you must have love. Because if you don't, something's missing. That's what I want to tell everyone, that whatever you are in this world, you must have love. Because you know what? Love may bring you to wherever you want to be, and love may take you to somewhere you don't want to be. So just be careful with that love too. Love is awesome, love is great, but love can be fatal too. So watch that too. Are you ready to share your love with others? This is Lizette Presley, your host, and today we are blessed to have the lovebirds in our show, Linda and Art. Say hello to our audience, Linda and Art.
Hello.
I'm Art.
I'm Linda.
Yes, and please tell us about yourself.
Art and I have been married for 7 years. Very happily married. Yes?
Very happily married. We met by a neighbor. We were introduced by a friend of ours. She met the friend introduced us, and we got together.
Beautiful. Yes.
Just celebrated our 7th anniversary.
Congratulations and happy anniversary and best wishes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So how did this love came about? How did it get started?
Well, I had been single for 10 years. Art was just recently widowed.
Yep.
So a friend introduced us, and we fell very much in love.
Oh, wow. I wonder how that feels like. Would you mind elaborating on that?
Oh, it's a happy feeling. It's a peaceful feeling. When you find someone to love you, it's very peaceful. There is no fighting, no arguing, and we work very hard to get along, right?
Yeah. You have to commit to being happy.
Yes.
It's not automatic.
No, it's a choice.
But if you respect each other, life can be good.
Absolutely. Life is wonderful. Yes, so you talk about this respect and happiness being a choice.
Happiness is a choice.
Yes.
You can choose to be unhappy, and you can choose to criticize somebody, or if somebody needs their privacy, you can choose to walk away and give them some peace and quiet until they are done doing what they need to do, and then you get together and talk.
Awesome. So
my goodness.
how did this get started, this flooding of love?
Oh my goodness.
That is a fabulous story.
I'll tell you what.
Go ahead.
Well, Dana was a first-year Toastmaster when she was invited to do a radio show, and I was a first-year area governor when I decided to do a radio show. But one thing happened. My friend Kathy was originally set to do the radio show, and she basically couldn't make the meeting. She gave me a phone call and said, "Hey Jesse, I can't make it to the radio show. Would you like to fill in for me?" And I said, "Sure, I'd be more than happy to." Then I met this lovely woman here, and we did our radio show together. We had 7 minutes per spot, and we decided, actually, after the radio show and everything, I got in my car and was like, man, that is one woman I could truly dig.
Oh, wow. That's what was it, a love at first sight?
Somewhat,
More or
yeah.
less. I felt a connection too, but it took
Really?
him 2
2
years
years.
to build up the courage to actually ask me out on a date.
Jesse?
Yes.
What took me so long?
Oh, yes.
We saw each other at events, but he just didn't want to talk to me. He was very
Ah,
shy,
he's very
very
shy.
nervous,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yes.
And he finally built up the courage and asked me out on a date.
And here's a reenactment of it. Hey, Dana, would you like to go on a date with me?
I said, sure.
You would? Great. What do I do next? And that's how it went.
So you were thinking she was going to say something really loud. That's why you kind of.
He was afraid I'd say no, is what
Yeah.
happened.
And I had a stroke of bad luck with
I
going out on different days. It's like,
see.
instead of 3 strikes, it's more like 9 or 10 strikes.
Oh.
But it's just, I figured, what else could go? What's the worst could happen?
But late in love is lucky in love.
You better believe it. You better
Oh my
believe it.
Yes.
See, the first time I saw you two doing this PDAs, I was a little embarrassed.
Oh, yeah?
Oh?
Yeah, because I know. Look at this couple. They're just doing it in front of everyone. I was saying.
Oh.
And because I didn't know you that much at the time, but
Okay.
now that I know how in love you are and this,
Yeah.
and so I was excited when I asked you, yes, why don't I ask this couple to be at the
Yeah.
show?
So many people told us to get a room. Actually, we have a room. It's in our house. So take it. Take that.
Awesome.
So never thought about it. I just love him, so I
That's
want to kiss his
great.
forehead
That's
or
great.
hold his hand.
And
Yes.
I want to kiss. I want to kiss her forehead too.
Oh my goodness. Okay, not right now. Okay, let's do this.
Don't.
All right. So how does your family feel about this? Did they? Yes. Let's
They
include
love
the family.
My family loves Jesse.
Yeah.
He's educated. He's well spoken. He's a smart guy.
Yes,
he
of
has a
course.
good job. He had a car. He had a house. I mean, he had everything going for him that a guy should have, and they love him.
And as for my folks, it took a little bit of warming up to Dana, and looks can be deceiving, but once you got inside Dana's heart, her
Right.
mind, and her
Yes.
spirit, the rest is a-okay.
Yeah,
Of course, yes.
Love covers a multitude of sins, and what people forget is because of what the world has taught us about love and what love actually is.
That's
we,
right.
we think we have an idea of what love is, but we truly see love when we see like the sacrifice of Christ.
Right.
Because you go, wait a minute, you could love me and I was a mess. And when we apply that to other people, there's no judgment.
Yes.
Because you stop judging a person and you say, well, wait a minute, when I was messing up, I was loved. And so you're no longer expecting. I think a lot of times people will put conditions
Yes.
on their relationship with a person, meaning I'll like you if you do this, but if you do that, I can't like you anymore. And that's not love. Love is saying,
yes.
no matter the conditions, I don't expect anything back from you.
Right.
And that's helping, because when you're helping someone that could never repay you, that's pure.
Yes, that's pure. We were talking about that, and the last time we spoke to each other.
Yes.
That love should be unconditional.
Yes.
You know, and I can tell right now that I can love someone unconditionally, because that's how it's supposed to be love.
Yeah.
Right?
I think it's a retraining and a teaching, especially the younger generation.
Yes,
And I mean, I know you see this, what's going on here. I can't speak to other places, but you see a lack of caring in children. And it's you know, I think there's a disconnect. I'm not blaming any one person, but there's a disconnect between the family.
Yes.
Because there's a separation. So a lot of times the family unit's been forced into work, so they don't spend as much time
right.
with the child.
So, and see, people, the government is quick to put the finger on the gun control or whatever. But the real problem with society these days is the whole family itself. Because if those parents are not conditioned to go to work to support the family, and one of the parents is going to stay home to take care of the children, then this world would be much better place.
Yeah, I'll give you an analogy. If you have a pool and you have 4 people at each end and they each pour in a drop of oil, which one caused the biggest problem? It all did. It all did. People are too quick to point at one issue saying this is the cause. I go, they're all causes. And it really is a lack of faith, because that starts to affect morals.
Yes.
And when the morals disconnect, you start to have children that disobey the parents. Stuff becomes more acceptable, and you have a concept of moral decay. And so even people are like, well, how does that affect relationships? Well, look at how people think of marriage now.
Yes.
To them, it's something where, number one, it takes work. And you're like, well, if it's too much hard work, I don't want it. Let's just have casual encounters.
Oh.
And that's not a good thing for a
That's
child.
not at all. Not at all, because we should still have, me personally, I want to think of more. I am moral. I'm old school. I'm very conservative. So, if one day, I want to be with someone, and I want to be married to that someone. Because you know what? Love it's sacred.
Yes.
And marriage should be a sacred thing.
Yes. And we're not here to fit in to the world.
Right.
That's the thing, is too often people are like, well, I'm so different. I go, you're supposed to be different.
Yes,
But
everyone.
those old-fashioned values work, which is why as they started to fade, society fell apart.
Yes.
And no one ever equates the two together. And then people that are like that, because that is the minority that still thinks that way, that's more powerful than 50 people telling you the wrong thing. Because you already know the road that's going to lead down for a child or an adult. And so when you can stand your ground saying, this is the right way to do it, you can believe whatever you like, but this is what's going to necessitate change.
Yes.
Well, and sometimes, throughout our life, because I've made a ton of mistakes, sinned a lot, and people, I think, too often think that when you're following the Lord, you become perfect. You're not perfect. You're just striving to get that and start correcting the mistakes. At one point, we were all making mistakes and didn't care, but you start to become very clear-headed and say, wait a minute, I am a role model. I do have to be an example to other people.
Yes.
Because if I'm saying one thing and doing something else, that's
it's
why.
It's not good. Yeah. That means a lot of people I don't want to be judgmental, but let me talk about myself. So I wanted to be a role model to my daughter, so I got out of that relationship, and I thought he was my soulmate, and I wanted to work it out, and we tried to work it out. It didn't work because the sparks weren't there anymore. And my daughter was so ecstatic when I decided to leave, because I thought she was happy for me, and she was. And she sacrificed, my little daughter. She sacrificed her happiness just for her mom. And so I asked her, why didn't you say anything, honey? I said, and she said, Mom, I thought you were happy. Well, I guess I was a good actress at that time, pretending to be happy when I wasn't really.
I think what people understand, because this is just understanding that I have, is that when we realize we don't have to start chasing people, is that whoever the Lord, when you have this understanding, I'm not saying someone who's in the world doesn't get this.
Yes, yes.
When you realize that the Lord has someone for you,
Yes.
that pressure comes off.
Yes.
Because a person will compliment you, and I think too often people want someone to complete them.
Right.
You know, you're complete in God.
Yes.
A person will compliment you, and that's what I think too often people are doing. They're chasing after a person that they think is going to complete them, but I go, they're not going to complete them, and that's an unfair burden to put on them. You have to be
Right.
complete to then be with someone else.
From your neck, yes.
And so they kind of gave up on me. They said that the insurance wouldn't pay for a portion of it, so they would have to wait another 30 days. But thank God I had angels.
Yes.
I had a lady that wouldn't give up on me.
Okay.
And I want to tell you. I really want to tell you about that.
Let's talk about you a little bit more. Let's give a story of the background, your background, so everybody will know where you're coming from.
Well, I've been in town for 50 years. I've been married 3 times, and those relationships were a tragic. They were a tragic.
Or you can look at me.
I'm gonna look at you. And so, I had been married to 3 different times, and they were toxic relationships.
Toxic relationships.
Yes, and so when I finally got out of my last relationship, I was married for 12 years in that relationship. There was no love, and I really didn't understand what God's love was about until I got into rehab. And rehab showed me that no matter what you do, that God will never let you down. So what happened was I had to learn how to walk again, and that was the first step. And my God, the Lord got me back on my feet again.
Awesome.
And He got me where I had the strength to get up and stand up. He got me the strength where I can. They told my family I would probably be there for 2 years, that I would probably be either on a walker or in a wheelchair the rest of my life. And thank the Lord, I don't do any of that. I'm back to work.
Yes, you're back to work. You've got lots to do, Harold.
Lisette and I regenerated our friendship after a year and a half, and she's been wonderful, pushing me. She's been a pusher and a pusher to get me to try things that I would probably still be struggling with.
I'm a love pusher.
Yeah, a love pusher. A love pusher is that was a good one. So that's kind of where God's love is unconditional.
So before all this happened, what were you doing? Harold, by the way, is a realtor.
I've been selling real estate for 27 years. I was very successful in selling real estate. My most successful years was when I was doing real estate auctions. I made a lot of money, and I lost a lot of money. And God, if you don't give it back to God and do what you're supposed to do with it, it just goes. It goes away. I own 6 homes. That's all gone. And marriage was all gone. And I had to come back and I had to relearn what God's word really meant. And He put me through this, and I know that was for a reason.
Absolutely.
And so I'm back again, back on my feet. There's a learning curve. Us human beings are stubborn when it comes to trusting and hoping and all the things that we have to do. But I have my faith in God right now that He's gonna guide me and give me the knowledge that I need to have to keep life going again the way it should be through Him.
Okay, Harold.
Definitely self-love, but a lot of people struggle with relationships. They fall in love and then they don't know how to consistently keep that going. So I'm working on that because I have been married and I've been learning a lot of tools and have been studying a lot because I believe in love. I believe that we each have an eternal flame, which is our mate. That is basically our soulmate, but somebody where the passion never goes out. The flame always keeps burning, and It doesn't matter how many times that you're reborn, you'll keep finding that person. That person is meant for you. Every single person has one. It may not feel like it in the moment if you're going through some kind of issues or if you're living in lack of abundance, not realizing that love can be there for you. But it's definitely there, and that's why I want to put out this program so I can help people understand and manifest that love that they deserve. You are worthy of being loved, and you deserve the love, so it will come to you.
Awesome. Yes, I'm still looking for my eternal flame. Oh no, I'm not supposed to look for him. They're supposed to find me, right?
It could go both ways. I actually believe that you're connected. So it's not even about looking and finding. You're just making your way to each other because you're already connected.
I see.
Yes.
But everybody is connected, by the way. So how is that going to be? So it's just going to happen?
It will happen.
Oh.
The more that you start to feel it, because there'll be signs, there'll be things in your life where you start to understand and you start feeling it coming. You'll know that person is there. And then you'll start meeting people and people will just be attracted to you. But then you just have to, in your head, understand what you want, understand what you deserve. And once you start living in alignment with your highest self, then your partner will also be in their highest self and they will be drawn to you.
Social media shows
is about
branding, opportunity,
and outreach.
We are an entertainment company that empowers others
by promoting and supporting our community
and everyone who reaches our content.
Here on social media shows,
here we're a family.
We are family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing.
We are family.
We are family.
We are family. We are family.
We are family.
We are family, and we want you to be part of our social media shows family.
I joined a church, and a person in the church invited me to a Toastmasters meeting.
Awesome.
Me being a person that loved to talk, loved to interact with people, loved being in a great positive, educational, learning environment where there's no stress and no drama, which is my motto, I just fell in love with it.
That's wonderful. And yes, being an area director in Toastmasters are junkies, but hey, we love.
You can unite with and bridge with, because I'm really big on bridging. I really think that mankind need to bridge together.
Of course, because I believe.
Having gotten to know you over the last few months and seeing you in Toastmaster events, various events at Business with Heart.
Business with Heart.
You carry a spirit of love everywhere you go. And
I try.
It's really great because I've watched you come into a room and the room changes when you come into the room.
Really?
And that's great. You have that gift. It's very good. So it is an honor to be here today to share with your viewers about what in the world a purpose and design specialist is. And basically what we do is we help people discover their unique purpose in life and their unique design. And then we put them together so that they can be unleashed into the world in ways that only people can do that. Very unique. It's a very powerful process. Well, it depends on what people are after. Some people just want to find out what their purpose and design is, like they're in transition between jobs, or they want to know what direction their life should take. Other people want to understand people better, and so I work with a lot of couples and people that have been in marriage counseling for a long time, and it's not working, and they come and they go through our process, and not only do they discover more about themselves, they discover a depth of understanding about each other that really strengthens the relationship and brings it together. And then I also work with companies and corporations. We help companies maximize their talent and engage their employees, and align their companies up to where they will see between 100 to 300% increase in their productivity and their profits, just by lining their operations and the way they operate up with the latent talent that's right in front of them that they don't even realize they have. So what we do with people is different than most anybody else would do, because we want to discover what is unique about a person, and really focus on developing those uniquenesses. And we use a combination of assessments and a discovery process. And there are lots of assessments out there that people use. You've probably heard of the DISC or the Myers-Briggs or the Strength Finder, or there's other value indexes. There's ones that resemble colors and ones that resemble animals. There's hundreds and hundreds of these assessments. What most of them do is what they will do is they'll measure one part of a person.
I see.
And like the DISC, it will measure like the personality of a person, and then it has 4, and we call that a construct. That's the personality, and then there's 4 subconstructs: the DISC, the DISC.
Wow.
The problem with that is that at the end of taking those assessments, it will put you into like one of 16 profiles.
I see.
And when people read their profile, they're like, wow, that's amazing. That's how did they know? That's me. The problem is there are over 7 billion people in our world, soon to be 8 billion people. They don't fit in 16 profiles.
Yes, that is the question. Everybody's unique after all.
Exactly.
Yes.
And so what those assessments do is they try to tell you you're either this or you're this, or you're either this or you're this. They put you in boxes.
Right.
And then once you have your boxes, they try to tell you how to live from those boxes. And it's not that those boxes aren't accurate, they're just not complete.
Yes.
So what we do is, instead of finding out one construct, we use science and what's called psychometry to measure across 6 parts of a person, their whole makeup.
Yes.
And then we break those down not into 4 subconstructs, but 17 subconstructs.
Wow.
And then instead of saying you're either this or this, we will, what we call triangulate. We'll find out, for instance, a person is this percent this and this percent this, and they're this percent this and they're this percent this. So it really gives every person has a very unique assessment that's unique to them, and it opens up so much more of themselves than any other process does. And it has implications in people's life as far as their what careers they choose. It has implications in their relationships. It has implications in their job and their work, all across the board.
More about your love in your heart, or how do you sharing it?
Well, like I said earlier, which I'd like to expound a little bit more. So I went through a period of depression, and self-doubt. And then when love came into my life, he showed me that I shouldn't hate myself anymore.
Yes, of course.
Because it said, love thy neighbor as you love thyself. It didn't say love thy neighbor as you hate yourself. It said love yourself. So I'm like, and I kept on reading it over and over, and it's like, you know, when the Holy Spirit speaks to your heart, that scripture that you've been reading so many times, like all of a sudden, it comes to life.
Yes, yes.
You know, it's not like before, you know, you can read something, and like it's nothing, And then all of a sudden, like, oh my gosh, I said, yes, now I have to learn how to love myself. You know, it's just like the song of Whitney Houston.
Yes.
The greatest love of all.
Yes,
it's easy to achieve. Learning to love yourself. It is the greatest
love
of all. Yeah.
Because who can love yourself the best but yourself?
Yes.
And how would you expect others to love you if you yourself doesn't love yourself?
Yes,
So there you go. So love starts within us.
Yes,
It starts within. We must love ourselves first of all. That is God's commandment. Love, like you said.
Yes.
I want to remind again everyone, and JC also. I'm sure you know this because you talk about this.
Yes.
When Jesus came to earth, there were 10 commandments before he came.
Yes.
But when he came, those 10 commandments, he summarized them into 2. Love your God above anything else, and then love your neighbor as you love yourself, like you said earlier. So it's just all about love.
Yes, it's not about rules and regulations. And I notice some, like not all do this. Like we spend our whole time, and this happens in churches. Spend the whole time criticizing about what people are wearing, or this person wore this, and this person wore this, and it wasn't appropriate for church, or she wasn't appropriate for church, and he wasn't appropriate, and they would go like, oh my gosh, did you see the way she looks? Or this one is a fake Christian, or this one is a fake. I think that we need to stop.
Yes.
Like we need to stop condemning and criticizing people and just allow love to take over.
Yes.
Because many of us come from different places of pain, of hurt.
Absolutely.
Like I don't know what you've been through in life.
I have been through a lot myself. You know what?
Hello, γεια σας όλοι. Είμαι το Greek Jeep.
Και εγώ είμαι ο Γιωργάκης, καλησπέρα.
Και είμαστε από τη Φλόγια από το Las Vegas.
Φλόγια από το Flame of Las Vegas.
Yes, and you could watch us every Monday at 4 o'clock live at social media shows.
And that's 4 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time.
Ναι. And κάθε Δευτέρα, let's say in Greek too.
Σε κάθε Δευτέρα στις 4 ώρα το απόγευμα, στο Pacific Savings Time,
στο social media shows, μπορείτε να βλέπετε το δικό μας show.
Φλόγα
του Las Vegas. Άντε, γεια σας.
I think love is it is what makes the world go around.
Yes, absolutely. And you are very dedicated in all the things that you do. And where that dedication comes from, but your love, right?
Yeah. I think you really do have to love your life
Love yourself.
Yeah, I think the more that you love your life, the more that you have to love other people. So you love just being on the planet, right? Look how lucky we are.
Yes.
That we got to wake up today, and we have our faculties, we can talk, we can see. So what's not to love, right, about
That's
life?
That's right. So today we are going to talk about your love for yourself. Do you spread to others? Then we'll talk about your love for community. And of course, your love for this business with heart that we are engaged in. I think everybody wants to know about this business with heart. So we're going to talk a lot about that. So we're going to have 4 sections. So first, your love for yourself, and of course, love for yourself that you share, love for community, and love for business with heart, and the love for everybody else.
Well, wow, that's a whole lot of love going on today.
That's right, because this is all about love is everywhere. So I really believe that in order for you to be successful in whatever that you do, love is key. Love is the foundation, and love is the highest vibration. So in order for you to be in alignment, I think you got to have love. Did you agree with that?
Oh, absolutely. And you were saying that we're talking about 4 elements of love. So where you had mentioned before the love of self.
Yes.
What I've found is that the love of self is actually, for most of the people probably on the planet, is the most difficult aspect. It's a lot easier for people sometimes to love other people than it is for them to actually love themselves.
Absolutely, because that was a challenge for me, because I thought, I learned from early on from my mother that she is all about the other person. So she would dedicate herself to the other person. So I thought, giving your time and your service to others is the way to go. But then I learned later on that if you do not have love for yourself, how can you expect somebody to love you? And how can you expect to give something that you do not have? So we must have to have love in our hearts in order for us to be able to share with everyone.
I think a lot of the thing about having love is it's really acceptance of yourself.
Yes.
And I don't know if we're necessarily taught. Well, I'm sure some people are raised like that, where they're raised to have a true acceptance of themselves for who they are. I think that a lot of times in our world we are not taught to really accept ourselves, and that from a young age that's not something that is really taught, because kid goes to school, they're kindergarten, 1st grade, 2nd grade, 3rd grade, they're already being measured by this criteria of grades.
Yes.
So you're a kindergartner, you're already being kind of compartmentalized in a way. That's in that you're either a smart kid or you're not, somewhere in between.
Yes.
And so, okay, if you're super, super smart, you would think, well, maybe they would have love for themselves, or everybody tells you that you're better, you're a smart kid, you're a beautiful little girl. There's always so many distinctions that are made about people throughout our lives. And so if you're not that, or if you're not getting that type of reinforcement from the outside world, and if you aren't raised by people who know how to give you that, and a lot of times it's not that people don't want to give it to you, it's just it was never given to them. So they don't know how to give it to you. So you go through life always feeling like you're less than, and being not really accepting of the gift that you are and how wonderful you are as a person, no matter how much so-called intelligence you have, or beauty you have, or that it doesn't matter. We're all human beings. We're all the same. We all have gifts.
That's right.
I believe that we have really incredible examples with all of them of how to manifest love.
Right.
And I think people choose different paths in order to get that love.
Yes. Everybody has their own journey.
Yes, it is.
That's why
I may be able to, let's say, oh, this thing happened to me, but my journey is different than yours. And I was talking about, before we came on, I was talking about how you must love yourself, because you cannot give what you do not have.
That's true.
So how are you manifesting that? How are you doing that?
I think for me, a lot of times it's easy in relationships to sort of nitpick. And the truth is that other person is a mirror.
Yes.
Everyone's a mirror to us. A mirror.
I like that analogy.
And so if we can really look in that mirror, and when we're interacting with someone, what is bothering us? Is that a part of our past that we're no longer relating to? Is that why that is bothering us in that person? Or it's really understanding beyond that person is just not a nice person. What is triggering us? So it's really getting in touch with yourself and healing. And so much of that to me is just not being a victim. And really being responsible for, no matter how you got to where you are today, it doesn't matter what happened that got you there. It's that you're here, and it's time to be able to change through that.
Wow, that's amazing. Yes, and I would like to talk more about that.
Great question. So I grew up in a traditional religious experience, but when I was 7 years old, and I had let's say a mystical experience.
I love that.
Some of us as children, we have mystical experiences, and we don't talk about it because our family might be too traditional or things that we don't want to share that. And so some of these, like, say, mystical experiences, I didn't have a place for that. And I won't get into that today, but, you know, through the Way Showers College, I could begin to understand my mystical experiences. Because some of us see without eyes, some of us feel without touch.
Right.
Some of us hear without ears.
Yeah.
And some of us know without knowing, and I didn't know how to place all that. And by attending a lot of classes and doing some private consultations, it gave me a way to unwind that and start beginning to understand those things that I just didn't have a place to understand them. So that's what I love about the Way Shores colleges. You know, because of all their programs and movements, it helps an individual understand their energy within their body, their spirit, how mastering that energy, those intuitive kind of abilities, what do those mean? Because we all have them, and how does that work? And how the essence of who we are, our spiritual thrust as a soul with a body, we've come with a purpose. And so to help us, you know, thrive in that purpose and be in that love energy in that purpose.
Yes.
And so it's really that complete understanding of knowing myself.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Because if you know more about yourself and you understand that you are a spirit, then you have more understanding, like you said, with all these experiences. Because yes, I have some experiences that I cannot explain.
That's right. I have experiences I can't explain. So, you know, those classes, those private, you know, consultations, I start unwinding and I come to planet Earth.
Right.
My energy. So that's what I love, right?
It's so interesting. Right. This is good. This is going to be more than one show right here. We are going to talk a lot. Yes, and see, yeah, and you also talk about that seeing without your eyes. So meaning you have a third eye.
Our third eye.
Third
so some
eye.
of us can see without eyes. we can see we live in two worlds at once.
Mm-hmm.
So we live in the material world and we live in the spiritual world simultaneously.
Wow.
Yeah.
So for us people who can understand that, that's okay. But for people who are not understanding it, that's when they get scared, right?
Well, hopefully not. You know,
Hopefully
there's nothing really scary. I live on a planet. So I live on a round ball.
Right.
So how do I want to understand my energy while I live here? Maybe as I come in and I'm going to go out. Those are two facts in life, right?
Right.
So I can go like I like to call planet Earth a school.
Yes,
It's just a
absolutely.
school.
It's
like
a school.
It's like you've come to Harvard, a big school of learning and growing.
Yes.
And so I need spiritual tools, at least I do. So I can, you know, through the Wayshorers College, I get some spiritual tools in helping myself. And when I help myself, then, you know, I help my family. I always like to say my family and friends, when I get better, they get better.
Absolutely.
It's like osmosis.
That's right, because we are all connected again.
We're all connected.
Social media shows
is about
branding, opportunity,
and outreach.
We are an entertainment company that empowers others
by promoting and supporting our community
and everyone who reaches our content.
Here on social media shows,
Here we're a family.
We are family.
We are family. I got all my sisters with me. We are family. Get up, everybody, sing.
We are family.
We are family.
We are family. We are family.
We are family.
We are family, and we want you to be part of our social media shows family.